Right, everybody. Well, I think we may have some more people joining us as we go along, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. We are super excited to talk to you about all things Brisbane tonight. My name is Shannon Bradley. I am in charge of marketing for Down Under Endeavors and have been working closely with Tourism Brisbane and the opening of Bluey's World. And that is one of our main things we're going to talk about tonight. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can take a look at this slide deck that talks about all things Brisbane. Just a little bit about Brisbane. It is on the east coast of Australia, and we're going to talk in just a moment about the airlift that you do have into Australia, which is great. Our good friends over at Qantas are flying direct from LA into Brisbane, which I think, Johnny, that's how you and your family flew over, is on Qantas. So just a little bit about Brisbane. There are several direct flights from the United States into Brisbane. So it's a really easy way for us people in the United States to fly to Australia. You've got Qantas is obviously flying there. United and American are flying direct into Brisbane. It's a good place to start, especially with a family. We're going to talk here just in a minute about some of the some of the regions and such that you can get to from Brisbane. But just looking at this map here, you can kind of get an idea, first of all, of how big Australia really is and where Brisbane sits. It's a wonderful city to start your vacation. There's beautiful beaches all up and down north and south of Brisbane, and also very easy to jump out to the Great Barrier Reef from here, either over to Hamilton Island, Airlie Beach, or Cairns, Port Douglas area. So Brisbane is a perfect way to enter into Australia for your vacation. And we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so wonderful for families. One of the great things about Brisbane is it's a very walkable city. Once you arrive, you can get your transfer and be in the city fairly quickly. And you've got all of this wonderful growth along the river here. So lots of different things to do, walking areas. Brisbane City Center is right here. And within 10 minutes, you can be to all different areas here along the river. It's a really it's a very compact city with a lot of different things to offer. And one of the really cool things about Brisbane for families and for couples or people visiting Brisbane is there's all of these different areas that give you different things to do. There's a really cool food and drink vibe to it. If you don't have little kids, if you've got adult kids and you want to go and do some things along the river, just think like outside, being able to have a coffee, have a beer, enjoy the beautiful views of the river. And just this Eat Street here, you've got lots of music. It's just a very vibrant city. And it does, certainly doesn't get as much hype perhaps as its cousin to the south, Sydney, but certainly so many things to do. And the wonderful thing about this is the whole city has grown up around the river. So you've got all of these boating things and kayak things and just beautiful views along the river. One of the things I wanted to point out is there is just a wide variety of accommodation when you're coming into Brisbane with your family or your friends. Obviously, high-end five-star hotels. I love the apartment style hotels for families. These are the ones that are going to give you a 1 or 2 bedroom type of apartment. So if you've got 2 children, a family of 4 can easily stay there. There's a nice kitchenette, laundry inside. So you've got this nice little contained unit for a couple of days for a family, especially if you've got little ones, and easy to run to the market and have some breakfast or lunch just there at your kitchenette before you move on to your touring for the day.
That's what we did.
Is that, yeah. But where'd you stay, Johnny?
We stayed at Adina,
Oh,
Adina,
yeah. We love
Dina.
the, yep. Great
There's
product.
two of them, but we stayed at the one right near the river.
Awesome. Yeah. So perfect for little ones, right? You just can, have
Definitely.
breakfast and can do your walk from
It
there. So
makes it so easy,
awesome.
especially having a washer and dryer.
Yes, for sure. Um, and then this is, I love this picture because it just gives you an idea of how much walking that you can do. It's easy. You can get on bikes. It's not a city where you need a car, and you can really just get out and explore. This is just one of the precincts I was talking about before, Queens Wharf, that is just this whole entertainment section. Plenty to do for families and people, families with all different types of interests. Um, Also, just want to talk about some of the things that you can do. Brisbane is actually a really cool active adventure type of city. Now, this is obviously Kangaroo Point Cliffs where you can do some rock climbing, but there's also kayaking, biking. Johnny's going to talk a little bit about Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary. We love it. It is, these guys did a wonderful job in helping our koala friends during the bushfires in 2020. They do a great job, and Johnny will talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But here's what I'm talking about. Just you can actually climb the Story Bridge. You know, you can climb the Sydney Harbor Bridge. You can also climb the Story Bridge in Brisbane. Fun cruises, kayaking. So everything really kind of grows up around that river, which is wonderful. And then this is the other great thing. Johnny's going to talk a little bit about his trip out to Tangalooma, which is close to Brisbane. But Brisbane also just has access to a lot of different landscapes and activities outside, mountains, wildlife. There's actually wineries in that area if you've got, adult families that want to do things like that. So easy access. You can get in a car and you can drive. You can be in Lamington National Park within a couple of hours. You've got Australia Zoo that's very close to Brisbane. So lots of things for families to do in the region. So, especially with little ones, it's nice to be able to, and I'm sure Johnny can attest to this, to put yourself in one place for a while and just kind of spoke out from there instead of having to pack and repack and go to different regions. Um, so we're going to talk about this in a minute. Tangalooma, awesome property. They're very close to Brisbane with a lot of activities. Just going back to the whole idea of active adventure, you've got this Morton Island that is where you can do sandboarding. Here we go. And then we were talking about the mountains. I mean, how beautiful is this? Just, all within an hour to 2 hours drive of Brisbane. So wonderful things to do and see. You've got the camels. Of course, kids love to ride camels. You've got hot air balloons. You've got lots of hiking. So not at a lack for anything to do. I mentioned the winery. This is a new winery. You can see it's pretty modern. The vines have been in the area for a while, but we've definitely got investment going on for wineries in the area. And then this is just another really cool property outside of Brisbane along that scenic rim for those that like that outdoor landscape and want to do some hiking and biking and outside activities. So other new experiences coming. Lone Pine, Johnny, was the nocturnal section open when you guys were at Lone Pine?
We weren't there at night.
Okay.
So, although, I think there might have been some nocturnal stuff.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
getting, we went to Taronga Zoo too in Sydney.
oh, okay, cool.
So I'm getting confused if it was.
Yeah, so this is a new nocturnal thing that they're doing at Lone Pine with Australia has a lot of amazing nocturnal animals. This, of course, is the cute but not cuddly Tasmanian devil that they have there. So Tasmanian devils aren't easy to come by in Australia, especially even in some of the wildlife habitats. So it's nice that Lone Pine is adding that nocturnal sanctuary there. Just some other ideas. This here with the tables and eating up here, way up here, that's going to be a no for me. But some people might really like this whole idea of having your feet dangle while you're eating dinner. But one of the reasons to show you this is just a really interesting different things that you can do in Brisbane. And you're not going to be lacking for ideas or things to do while you're in the area. And then this, of course, is the Story Bridge climb that we talked about. You can also do it at night. Pictures of Brisbane and the lights and everything along that river are absolutely beautiful at night. So we really encourage people to get out and see the nightlife a bit as well. And of course, most importantly, Brisbane is going to be hosting the 2032 Summer Olympics. So we're super excited for them. They're going to be doing a lot of development. So watch this space. You're going to see a lot of more development going into Brisbane. So with that, going from the Olympics over to Johnny. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Johnny. We're excited to have him. He is the original travel influencer. He does a lot of travel talks and has been talking about travel for quite some time. And now he is traveling with his kids and his wife. So that is them there in Brisbane. And we were lucky enough to have him go to Bluey's World right after it opened. So, Johnny, I'm going to send it over to you to talk a little bit about how this trip maybe to Brisbane came together. And then we'll start talking about the couple of things that you did with your kids.
Sure. Thanks for having me. So a couple quick things. We didn't fly Qantas actually.
Oh,
We
sorry.
flew F- Fiji Airways.
Oh, I did see that.
So
Yes.
we originally we were just going to Fiji for Thanksgiving. And then I was like, listen, we're that close to Australia. We're going to Australia. My wife's like, no, let's just go to Fiji. Anyway, I talked her into it. She was so happy. The kids were even happier. They loved Australia. We flew to Sydney, and then we did fly Qantas from Sydney to Brisbane, which is like an hour flight. It's just like going from LA to San Francisco. It's real easy. And even the flight from, LA to Fiji, or even we flew back Brisbane, Fiji, LA in the same day. My kids, no problem. My trick, by the way, or my wife's trick, is we don't let the kids have the iPad at all at home. They only get to use the iPad as when they're on the plane. And you know
Ah,
what? And it works like a charm. They also can use it when there's an important meeting going on. But I mean, I literally have to say, hey, it's time to go to the bathroom. You got to get up. They're like, you don't hear a peep out of them. They put their headphones on, they watch Bluey, and that's that.
that's
But
awesome.
that's the trick, and there was no problem at all. They're better than 99% of adults
Yeah,
traveling.
awesome.
But also, Delta flies to Brisbane from LA 3 times a week.
Yes.
I
Uh,
don't think you mentioned that in the
No, I
beginning.
didn't, but yes, thank you. Also another great airline. So,
Definitely.
in this presentation, I actually am using pictures that Johnny took. Everything you see for the next couple of slides are his pictures and what his kids experienced. So, um, I'll let you take it away and talk about
Yeah.
your trip to Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary.
Yeah. So again, we went to first, we were just going to Sydney, and then we found out Bluey's World was opening up, and I was like, listen, we got to go to Bluey's World. My kids were like, we got to go. So that's why we extended our stay, and my kids liked Brisbane better than Sydney. They were like, they loved it, and it wasn't just Bluey's World. Actually, I think they liked Lone Pine better, if you believe it or not, just because they got up close. They got to pet a koala. In Queensland, you can hold koalas or touch them. In New South Wales, where Sydney is, you cannot. And different states in Australia have different rules, but Queensland is very open to it. And yeah, so we took a ferry from right across the street from the hotel, which is right in center. Right, we walked over the Brisbane River, and we took an hour and a half ferry. It's real slow, mellow, and they learned about the river. And then you get off, and you're right at the sanctuary, and you walk around. I mean, you can feed the koalas, not just the koalas, the kangaroos, and it was surreal for my kids. They still talk about it, and it was 4 or 5 months ago. They're like, please, can we go back? And I was, yeah, hopefully. So there, I mean, there's a lot to do, especially Lone Pine, and then if you don't want to spend an hour and a half on the ferry, you can drive. We drove back to the city, and it was like 15 or 20 minutes from Lone Pine. So, um,
And
It's
Johnny, are
really easy.
you besides obviously the story of the koalas and some of them that they've rescued and the kangaroos and such, what are there other animals that you see there at the
Oh,
sanctuary?
definitely.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of farm animals. They actually do a show which we sat down for. They had raptors. They had I think a barnwood owl. I mean, my son knows everything about animals. He's 8 years old. I should get him down here to tell you about it because I mean he just loved it. And they do, when you're watching the show, you have to stay seated because the birds fly right over your head,
Oh,
and
wow.
they do a whole thing. It's only 20-30 minutes, and they do a bunch of different shows. We only had 2.5 hours at Lone Pine, and it wasn't enough time.
Wow. That's great. Yeah,
So
they do great work. Um,
yeah,
So, and did you, so you did that, on one day, right? And then after, when did you go to, because the next slide, I believe, is
yeah.
Tangle.
Then we went to Bluey's World. I think
Oh, okay.
I can't
Well,
remember which one we did first, but we only had 2 full days in Brisbane.
okay. So did you so I saved Bluey. I saved the best for last. I saved Bluey for last. So I popped in these pictures of your trip out to Tangalooma as well.
Right.
Now, did you do that as a day trip from Briz or did you stay on the island?
We did a day trip. So actually, what
Okay.
I remember now, what we did is we went to Lone Pine in the morning, and then we went to Bluey's World in the afternoon, and then the following day we went to Tangalooma.
Okay.
And there was a big storm, unusual storm that day when we were at Lone Pine, and I was worried about rough water. It was not rough at all.
It
It's
looks
really,
beautiful.
yeah. They said that it's kind of guarded by islands, so
Mm.
they said it rarely gets really rough, and so that was really convenient for us because I didn't want my kids to get sick. I didn't want
Yeah.
myself to feel sick. But it's a big ferry boat. It takes like an hour, and you get there and you feel like you're in another world. Actually, they filmed the movie Scooby Doo. I think it was 2001, so you can actually see part of it. They did a lot of CGI, but you can see the dock and the
Mm,
beach and what it's like in that.
cool.
But yeah, my kids loved it, and they loved. There's all kinds of things that you can do. You can take a helicopter. You can do ATVs. You can go on this little sightseeing boat. It has a glass bottom, and see all the different fish. There's some boats that were sank, so there's a lot really good snorkeling.
Mhm.
I'm sure scuba diving too, and there's
Now,
a resort there too, which is
did your
that's what Tangalooma is. It says the island's actually Morton Island.
yes, yes. Um, do you what I mean, obviously I can see your kids are having a wonderful time on the beach. You did the glass bottom boat. What other activities did you do while you were there?
You know what? They just played in the sand.
I love it.
They ate. They got some ice cream, and they jumped in the pool for like 20 minutes. But the best part was the beach. I mean, the
Yeah,
water's so warm. It's just calm, and it's just a beautiful place.
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
Very
I didn't realize you could do those sand. Looks like you can
you
go
do
down
this,
the
yeah, you do the sandboarding on those big sand dunes.
sandboarding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. All right. So, of course, one of the big things we're here to talk about is our friends Bluey and Bingo. Bluey's World opened in November. Johnny, when were you
Yep,
there in
we were there in
November?
November, end of
Okay,
November.
awesome. And so I did want to put this plug in there. Our good friends over at Time Magazine have actually named Bluey's World as one of the world's greatest places for 2005. So
25.
2000, what did I say? 2005? 2025. Thank you. I just I'm going to turn it over to you and talk about this immersive experience that your kids loved at Bluey's World.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of photos because you're not allowed to take photos except in the entrance and at the very end when you get to meet Bluey and Bingo, or Bluey and what's his sister's name?
Bingo.
Is it? Yeah, Bingo.
Yeah,
Sorry.
bingo. Yep.
It's okay. Because Bandit and Chili are the parents.
Ah,
And they give you those ears that we're wearing on the right. So you get to choose which ones you want. And right when you go in, and it's a lot of fun. The kids loved it. I mean, they spend about 40 minutes in there. You go around, and at the end, um, that's when they have like a little playground and stuff. But yeah, I mean, and they get to meet Bluey and Bingo. I just asked my 5-year-old just before I got on, and I said, "What was your favorite part about going to Bluey's World?" And she said it was meeting Bluey and bingo. My
And
son, who's 8, he said his favorite part was he met a gnome there, and the gnome he showed the gnome where the magic door was.
so is it a like do the kids kind of do like immersive hands-on experience? Do they go
Yeah,
through like different um you know
different rooms.
different rooms?
So if
Okay.
you saw Blue, if you went to Bluey's camp, the camp
Yes.
store had
Yes.
one.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It's similar to that, but it's like on steroids. It's much bigger, and so they get to do there's different rooms they get to play in, and it's a huge it's like a warehouse. It is a warehouse,
Mm,
and so the rooms are really big, and they get to play. I think they have every 30 minutes is a different shift.
okay.
So make sure you make your time when whatever time they tell you to be there, go, because it's very popular.
And are you limited to for how much time they can spend in each place, or could they?
Yes, so you're
Okay.
guided because you're guided through.
Okay.
So they get like 5 to 10 minutes in each room, and then at the end they can spend as much time they want. At the end,
Okay.
it's like a big playground indoors, and there's some shops, and there's a couple and cafes.
Okay.
But yeah,
Gotcha. Cool. Well, Johnny's wife actually did do a little TikTok. So we're gonna see if I can make this work. Uh, Here we go.
The Sanctuary!
so again, they wouldn't let you take photos in
Right.
or video inside. So I mean, she did a lot with a little that you're allowed to
Yes,
work
she
with.
did. She did a
Um,
great job.
yeah, but what was funny is the fairy that was out front. She called their group the Salad Dodgers, which was pretty funny. The Salad Dodgers, and my kids do dodge salad.
The salad dodgers. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, we wanted to just allow people some time to maybe ask some questions. Johnny did ask one question that we were really curious about is like, what do you do with your kids on a plane for, 12 hours? Now, if you broke up your flight from, a Fiji Airways, I think that flight from Fiji into Sydney is what, 5 hours ish?
It's less. It's 4. I
It's
think it's
okay.
4,
Okay. Okay. Great. Um,
maybe 4.5.
okay.
But I mean, again, and if you don't like long flights, you could go to Hawaii first. And I've done that multiple times going to Australia,
Hmm.
where I'd spend a night or two in Hawaii, and then it's just 10 hours to Brisbane.
Right.
And so that makes it easy. But we flew 11 hours from LA to Fiji, spent a week there, and then went on. And we flew back from Brisbane to Nandi in Fiji, which was less than 4 hours. We had about a 3 hour layover, and then jumped on another plane to LA, which was 10 hours coming home. And the kids went to school the next day, no problem.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Uh,
Wow.
Ness, do we have some questions in the chat?
I have a question. You were saying that they were in 30-minute time slots, right?
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
It's 30 or 40 minutes.
So everybody has about that time to kind of go through the interactive experience.
Yep, because everyone has, like, you saw the fairy in the video.
Yeah.
She, each group gets a chaperone, and so they
Okay.
greet you and they walk with you to the next, and then you'll meet other characters along the way. But they'll guide you through to the next room, so the group behind you can get in.
Okay.
So
Um, and I think we were talking, we had a few other questions like perhaps other things to do in Brisbane if you're taking a family there. Obviously Johnny pointed out a couple of those things, Lone Pine, Tangalooma. As I said, the Australian Zoo is also there.
Right.
It's about an hour away. They do an outstanding job. Steve Irwin's kids, and his wife, they are big conservationists. They do a lot of work getting a lot of their animals outside of their enclosures. So a really awesome a company to support as well.
Definitely.
Then,
We wanted to do that.
yeah.
We just didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
I couldn't, my wife's like, we can't keep the kids out of school that long. But literally, there's so much to do. We need to go back. But I've been around the surrounding islands, Whitsunday Islands, Fraser Island. I've been to, up north. It's great.
Yeah.
What do you think the minimum age is? I mean, my daughter was 5 and a quarter when she went, and she absolutely loved it. And so I think, I mean, 4, I would say.
Yeah. The camp stores did a promotion where they gave away a trip to Brisbane, and the family that won, they were wonderful. It was a mom and her husband and the mom's sibling, and then her son, and her son was 4. And they went and took the flight, and she said Griffin just slept on the plane, and then they went to Bluey's World, and they went all over the place. They had a great time, with a 4-year-old in Australia. So certainly, I think 4 is, I've had people who have taken their 2 and 3-year-olds. It's very safe, lots of great things to do, and it's great exposure for kids to, go to another country and see different animals and meet different people who talk funny.
And the Australians are so nice, and especially if your kids love animals like mine do. I mean, it's just like, it's a dream come true. It really is.
Love it.
Another question for you, Shannon.
Yeah.
What's the best time to visit Brisbane?
Oh, well, it's certainly, we get that question a lot. Great question that came in, Ness. Brisbane is a year-round destination. You really can't go wrong. Even, in what would be considered their winter months, you're still, it's still kind of in that whole tropical belt there. So, in November, December, January, it is considered to be the rainy season. However, Brisbane is further south from where a lot of the rain comes in. So I, you know, I, you really can't go wrong any time of the year. January is always busy in Australia. It's when Australians are on vacation themselves. So I usually try and steer people away a little bit from January timeframe. But people with kids, summer vacations, June, July, August, still a great time to visit Brisbane. It's not, it doesn't have the uh, extreme temperature fluctuations like we do where our main office is in Chicago. It just doesn't ever get that cold in Brisbane.
Yes. And I think that's it.
Is that it? Anything else? Johnny, anything else to add? And your parting words about
Listen, I'm ready to go. I'd go tonight. And my kids would too. So I mean, they love it, and I love it.
Yeah, Johnny kept saying his kids keep asking when they can go back to Australia. So wonderful.
And by the way, the Qantas was the giveaway for that trip, and they're a partner with Brisbane.
Yes, great. Yeah, Qantas, great airline. Really good service. And, one thing I do like to tell people about flying within Australia that I find is there's just something a little bit more civilized about it in Australia. They don't get too fussy about anything. Your security lines aren't long. You don't have to take your shoes off. You can carry full bottles of water through security. They feed you on the plane. It's just a whole different level. It's just so chill. So I know when I talk to clients a lot of times about, traveling within Australia, that's what I tell them. And especially with kids, you don't, you want it to be as easy and painless as possible, to fly. And so certainly Qantas offers that type of experience. So
Definitely.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do this. Let me stop sharing. And yeah, we didn't have any other questions come in. I was just gonna look at the chat.
Let me double check.
Oh, actually, that is a great question. That came from Lucas. Can you go to Bluey's World more than one day, or is it just a one-day thing?
I mean, you could. I don't think you would want to.
Okay,
To be
because
true.
it would be the it would be the same experience, right? Like it's
I mean, it might
not.
be a little bit different, but you're going to see
Yeah.
the same
Okay.
rooms and everything. But there's so much to do outside of Bluey's World. I mean, you can use it as an excuse to go down there, but really, you want to see other parts.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, I think unless Johnny, you've got anything else to add, and we've got no other questions, so I think we are going to go ahead and sign off. And I just want to say a big thank you. I see Kylie's on there too. Hi, Kylie. Thank you for stopping in, and a big thank you to Johnny and his family for letting us see his pictures and share in the journey that they had to Brisbane. And thanks everybody for your time. The recording will be available. We will send it out to everybody, and we're also going to make it available on our YouTube channel within the next 48 hours. So thanks everybody so much, and have a great evening. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Good night.